R.E.T.I.N.A.
We are fast approaching the release of Johannes Roberts' vision of the rebooted Resident Evil movie saga, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. As always, fan opinion is strongly divided over the many images, videos, trailers and featurettes we've seen on social media and video hosting sites. But what do we really know so far about the new Resident Evil movie? We will be discussing spoilers and theories, only watch this at your own risk. From previous reports and the trailers, we know the events of Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2 are the primary focus of the story, with a mixture of the aesthetic of both the original games and the remakes being combined as well. Both the Spencer Mansion and the RPD are going to be the main locations featured in the movie from what we've seen so far, along with the orphanage, Kendo's gun shop, the underground Nest lab, and Emmy's diner making appearances as well. Likely with the underground lab at the Spencer Mansion also being included, or even being merged with the Nest lab, to make one giant underground complex linked together as one, similar to how the Umbrella Training Facility's underground lab linked to the Nest facility in Resident Evil 0. Compared to the previous film series by Paul W.S. Anderson, featuring new movie character Alice, over original game characters like Jill, Claire, Chris and Leon, this movie appears to be using more of the established characters from the games with no movie-exclusive characters to take the lead or supporting roles so far, similar to Cole in the recent Mortal Kombat movie, or Tom from the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Long-standing characters like Jill, Wesker, Leon and Chris are all going to be featured throughout the events of the first two games, with Claire Redfield seemingly taking the lead role overall. Other characters including William, Annette and Sherry Birkin, Enrico, Brad, Ada, Ben and Chief Irons are also credited as well. The only two major omissions from the story have been that Barry and Rebecca are both missing. While both have been integral to the story of the first Resident Evil, it looks like combining the stories of 1 and 2 has caused some characters and story elements to be cut altogether. While this may have riled up fans of the saga in general, in a way Rebecca and Barry's involvement in the movie would have been too much to keep up with. If the stories of 0 and 1 were combined instead, perhaps this would have worked better. But maybe the story will work without Rebecca and Barry. But we do lose the man behind the infamous Jill sandwich line. Richard Icon's role is apparently filling the gap being left behind by Barry. But considering how Richard is either devoured by Yawn or Neptune in Resident Evil Remake, I doubt he's going to survive long in the movie. Moving on to Jill, we haven't really seen much of her apart from a couple of reaction shots along with Wesker. There are rumours that both will be involved in a love triangle of sorts with Chris. While this has never happened in the games or even in the S.D. Perry novelizations, it is a unique plot thread to look at. Personally, I'm not so sold on the idea of a love triangle. I'm not really looking forward to it that much. But I want to see how it's going to pan out. Hopefully this won't be the defining trait of Jill in this movie as some kind of smitten cop with an infatuation with her boss. Wesker has also been changed, apparently being made into more of a human and relatable character, and not a blatantly obvious villain from the start, which does give us a chance to see a different side to him we've never really experienced in the games. The overall focus seems to be on Claire uncovering Umbrella's BOW experiments and trying to convince her brother Chris that something is going on, along with the STARS members and Leon getting involved in this BOW conspiracy. William Birkin appears to be the primary antagonist, with him not only being the creator of the G-Virus, but even showing him being involved in the experimentation of Lisa Trevor, and what appears to be the Ashford twins in reference to the events of Code Veronica. And Lisa Trevor appears to also have a more prominent role, with her possibly meeting Claire and Leon according to one shot from the trailers. Strangely, out of all the credited performers on this movie, we haven't seen Ada Wong yet. She has been cast, but there is still no sign of her in any set images or trailers. She hasn't even been hinted at by the director or in any of the character featurette videos. It is rumoured she's only in one scene, possibly a post-credits one, or it's likely she's still in the movie but may have had her role cut down for pacing like Rebecca and Barry. It's happened before where actors have performed their roles and scenes only for them to be reduced or cut out completely, much like the late Rick Mayall's performance in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone as Peeves the Poltergeist, or Jared Leto's Joker in the Suicide Squad movie. If that's the case, this will only annoy fans even more, since Ada's role not only in 2, but 4, 6 and Damnation is integral to the story of the series. Her actions in the background would help sell some of the key moments from the series too, such as getting a Plaga sample which would come into play in Damnation and 5, or her assist of giving Leon a rocket launcher in Resident Evil 2 and 4, along with her taking on Krauser, and not to mention her own campaign in Resident Evil 6. Moving on to the locations, we know the Spencer Mansion and RPD will be the most featured, with them being an amalgamation of their original and remake appearances, especially in the case of the Spencer Mansion. It's been said that the production team have gone as far to have the sets recreated exactly from the blueprints and floor plans of the buildings from the games, and this is not the only elements that feel like they've been pulled directly from the game. The ammo boxes of handgun and shotgun ammo, Claire, Leon and Chris's costumes, the words "Itchy Tasty" written in blood on glass in homage to the Keeper's diary from the first game, even one of the paintings used in the Resident Evil 2 remake in the RPD building can be spotted in the background of one of the international trailers. We even got the iconic head-turned zombie getting its movie debut. The sheer amount of references in the trailers alone can be barely counted. Even the character feature videos have thrown up new Easter eggs and details. For example, in the Wesker-focused video we see him using a Palm Pilot PDA while playing Moonlight Sonata on the piano. The Moonlight Sonata was played by Jill or Rebecca in the games, but also the Palm Pilot is an obscure reference to the S.D. Perry novel Umbrella Conspiracy, since Jill was given a similar device by the mysterious Trent. It would detail the map of the Spencer Mansion, the 4 keys, and some of the puzzle solutions like Wesker has used for the piano scene in the new movie. Now we're going to look at one of the things that every good hero needs: villains. In this case, the standard zombies are around as expected, along with the Cerberus, or zombie dogs. The Lickers make their return again, sporting their R.E.T.I.N.A engine aesthetic, being more lean and aggressive looking in general. We even got some glimpses of Lisa Trevor shushing someone, and what appears to be Birkin's third form at least. Other images of Birkin progressing through his forms were also recently discovered online too. It's been stated by the director that Lisa's role would be more important than the game's, meaning it's likely that the Tyrant and even Mr. X could have been taken out and replaced by Lisa, and to give Birkin's G-forms more of a role. Also the Crimson Heads, Web Spinners, Neptune, Yawn, Hunters, and Chimeras are all missing from any official trailers or photography. But just because we haven't seen something in the trailers doesn't mean it won't be in it. The same can be said for the other way around too, with some scenes in trailers never making it to the final cut of the movie. One of the most recent examples of this being the group shot of the Avengers and the Wakandans running towards the camera from the Infinity War trailer, which featured some of the original Avengers barring Hawkeye, Iron Man and Thor, then some of the new blood like War Machine and Black Panther. Some of the scenes we've got in the new Resident Evil trailers will likely not be used in the movie's final cut. One other thing to note is during the scene where Claire and Leon are looking through a confidential research document detailing the experimentation on Lisa Trevor, there is mention of a Nemesis parasite. The document itself seems to take elements from the Wesker's Report documentary, and some of the Resident Evil remake documents, but the mention of Nemesis is a nice little nod to the potential future of the series, along with the shot of the Ashford twins and the Redfields potentially teaming up sooner. There have been a lot of rumours and apparent leaks regarding the story of the movie, but much of this will have to be taken with a pinch of salt. It hasn't helped that we didn't get our first trailer for this movie nearly 2 months before the release, with little to no marketing materials prior to this. But since the first trailer, more and more information has been bleeding out. The video featurettes focusing on the main characters have all been welcome additions to help give us more clues as to the tone of the movie and the direction Johannes is going in. With the character videos, we know that Leon is going to be a little bit timid and nerdy, but grow in confidence over time, like his Resident Evil 2 portrayal. Claire is going to be headstrong and rebellious from the start. We know that some of the characters are going to be encountering each other much sooner, like Chris and Leon, and even some new encounters like Lisa and Leon and Claire all being together at one point too. But we must remember that trailers can be misleading, and we won't know the full story until the official release in less than a month. I've had to rewrite this video at least 5 times since the film's first announcement, since more and more information kept appearing on an almost weekly basis, and after everything I have seen so far, I can say I'm cautiously optimistic. Previous Resident Evil movies have done poor to average overall, with some rare excellent moments littered around. But considering how the director is being more faithful to the games than the previous film series, this shows some promise. It's not a wholly accurate interpretation, and fans have made their opinions very vocal at even the slightest changes to the story and lore. But this does show quite a bit of promise. It is a love letter to the Resident Evil saga, with this being the director's own vision of the world of survival horror, and not a like-for-like, shot-for-shot film version of the games. Which is really a good thing. When we look at the last couple of major video game movie releases, just about all of them have deviated from the source material in fairly major ways. The Mortal Kombat 2020 movie gave us Cole as a gateway into the violent world of Mortal Kombat, while still giving us many of the classic characters and iconic moments. Sonic the Hedgehog would be pulled into our world with Jim Carrey almost stealing the show as the eccentric but brilliant Dr. Robotnik. And Detective Pikachu would go really insane with the casting of Ryan Reynolds as the infamous electric yellow mouse Pokemon. The one thing that all three of these movies have in common is they either make up their own original story or deviate a lot from the already established narrative of the source material. The other thing all three of these movies have in common is they were all successful movies, proving that source material and characters don't have to be followed exactly. Being brave and taking a gamble on something that hasn't been done before can pay off. And with the range of high quality actors and the passion for the source material shown in this reboot of Resident Evil, I think this is going to be the start of a great new film series. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. What are your thoughts on the new film Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City? Remember to comment below, and a like would be appreciated, and please do subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with new Resident Evil content. Thank you Rezzers, and I'll see you again soon.